Hi everyone, thanks again for joining me. Welcome back to my studio. I'm happy we have the opportunity to doodle again together today, and thanks for continuing to watch the Buckeyes at Home series. So welcome to another episode of Doodle Days with Zach. I'm so glad that you're joining me here today because we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. We're going to be building on the bird, or if you were following along with me, the blue jay that we drew in the last video. So in this video, I want to talk a bit about emotions. So to get started, I love stories. I love to read, and I'm sure you probably do too. But when you finished your favorite book, how did it make you feel? Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. So when I finish reading a book, I usually feel really happy, not just because, I finished a book, but also because I know the characters had a happy ending too. That makes me really happy to read. And a lot of times that's kind of the resolution we see in stories. We see characters ending in kind of a happier way. So case in point, there's one of my favorite books is called I Want My Hat Back. It's a really fun picture book, great illustrations, but the bear in the end gets its hat back. So it's really happy in the end, which I think is really cool, and it's translated through those drawings. And that's going to be something we're going to be working on today when we doodle. So I thought that to kind of illustrate this, I'd show you some more examples from my sketchbook. So I finished my blue jay, looking good blue jay, but I've been working on some new sketches related to the blue jay because when we read books, when we see pictures in books or in comics, I think a lot of times what really draws us in and what really helps us connect to these characters is seeing the emotions on their faces. So I've got happy, the blue jay's smiling, and these aren't going to be exact with what blue jays would normally look like when they're happy, but this is kind of a cartoon, so it's going to be a bit exaggerated. But the eyes are very wide. If you recall, in most videos I say at some point or another the eye is the window to the soul. So we can see that here in the eye's expression. And we can also see it in sad, so you can see that there's a little bit of a line covering up one of the eyes. The beak is drooping a little bit, so it looks kind of sad. And then I've got scared. So scared, the eye is pretty big, but if you notice, the pupil and the iris are pretty small. So we've got a very wide open mouth. Maybe the blue jay is screaming or something. So, and then with angry, we can see the brows a bit furrowed. The eyes, the size of the pupil and iris are, they're in between scared and happy. So it's still kind of big, but it's not super big, and maybe it's yelling. So we've got 4 emotions, and we're going to be working with all 4 of those emotions today. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and grab some art supplies, and what I want you to do is while you're looking for some art supplies, click on the pause button. So go find some paper, pencils, markers, crayons, whatever you have available, whatever you want to color with today. So you have complete freedom of that. And then when you find your art supplies, I want you to click on the play button so that we can resume this video. So go find your art supplies. And welcome back! So I'm so glad you're back. I'm glad you found some art supplies. And as you can see, while you were grabbing some art supplies, while we were paused, I did erase our title board here so that we can go ahead and get started doodling. So when you're ready, I want you to grab your markers, grab your colored pencils, whatever you want to color with today. And on your mark, get set, doodle. So at this point, I'm going to start by drawing a very rough blue jay head. So I'm not going to go through the circle and the triangle aspects as much as I did in the last video because I just want to get started drawing a shape. So I'm going to go ahead, draw kind of a rounded head with a point here, and then draw down for the neck. So I've got the rough shape of our blue jay head here. Now I'm going to draw the markings on the back here. So we've got our triangle, it connects down to the base of the neck, like a little chin strap. So we've got the rough parts of the markings on the bird now. So at this point, we can start working on our expressions. Now, some of the best advice I've ever gotten was actually from another illustrator that I saw in another video who said that as you're drawing expressions, as you're drawing different emotions on faces, you should try to make those faces along as you draw it. So I want to know, what is the best happy face you can think of? When you've got it ready, I want to see it on your screen, so go ahead and give your best happy face, and I'm going to do it too. Awesome, great. So as you can see, my smile is really big, right? My eyes are very wide, my eyebrows are raised a little bit. I'm really happy. So we want to illustrate that with our blue jay. So that's going to translate with a kind of open mouth. So we're going to separate that beak a little bit, draw one little tiny triangle up here, And then we're going to draw another tinier triangle because beaks are kind of like that. We have a longer top part and a smaller bottom part, usually in cartoons for birds. Now we get to the eyes. So for the eyes, we want our eyes to be kind of wide. And to illustrate that, I'm going to make the irises and the pupil fairly large. So I'm going to draw the circle for the eye. And this may not look exactly like our blue jay before or whatever bird you were drawing in the last video, and that's okay. So as you draw different things, a lot of times it's not going to be the exact same. It's just how drawing works. It's just how doodling works. And that's kind of what's fun about it. You get to see how you doodle things differently every single time. So I've got the shape of the eye done. So for a very wide eye, I'm going to draw that crescent moon again so that we have a very wide iris and pupil. And I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And I did draw the little lines on the outside of the eye, just so that you could see some of that facial detail too. So we have a really happy looking blue jay here, which is pretty fun, right? Now, I want to focus on another emotion, because we don't want just a static character. Sure, it's great to have a character that's happy the whole time, but maybe something happens in the story that makes the blue jay sad. So I'm going to erase some of these facial details, like the eye and the beak, and I want to focus on making this blue jay look kind of sad. So now I want you to give your best sad face to the screen, and I'm going to do the same thing too. Right? So our eyebrows are raised a little bit, maybe our eyes are a little bit more closed, maybe kind of sad looking eyes here, and maybe we're frowning a bit, maybe we're pouting a bit with our lower lip. So that's kind of how sad works on a face. So I want you to think about how that expression lays on your face, and we're going to transfer it to our blue jay. So maybe the beak is drooping a little bit. We maybe have it kind of pointing down a little bit. And then for our eye, instead of starting with the circle part of the eye, I'm going to draw kind of a line going like this. So that line is going to represent where the brow comes down to kind of demonstrate that this eye is really sad. And then I'm going to draw the rest of the circle for the eye. And I'm going to draw those little lines on the outside of the eye for those facial markings. But maybe the bird's looking down, maybe the blue jay's looking down kind of sad, maybe distraught. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing our pupil right here in our iris. So this blue jay looks pretty sad now, right? So, and this isn't, like I said, exact with what blue jays would really look like outside. This is just kind of a cartoon demonstration. But we've got one sad blue jay here. But what if we want to demonstrate angry blue jays? So maybe something just happened that made this blue jay really, really mad. So I want you to give your best mad face to the screen. Yeah, so we furrow our brows. You can see the little creases above my eyebrows here. And maybe we're frowning again, but not pouting this time with our lower lip. So maybe we're like shouting or something like that. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to draw that furrowed eyebrow. So instead of having that slanty little line there, we're actually going to draw kind of a rounded, like kind of a half circle here, and connect that with another line that's going up and another like kind of a rounded edge. And then we're going to draw our beak. So maybe this bird's yelling because it's so mad. So we've got one open beak so that we can actually draw a yell here. And then I'm going to draw the rest of the eye. So we're going to put in that half circle, maybe the lines here, and once again, maybe our eyes, we want to keep with angry, the eyes a little bit smaller, so we want it to be maybe a little smaller than happy. But that is one angry blue jay, right? And then the last expression I want to draw in this video is I want to draw scared. So give me your best scared face. Right, so my eyes got really big, right? And then my mouth was open too. I was shocked, I was scared. So we want to translate that to our blue jay. So I'm going to draw the mouth pretty high up here, and then the lower part of the beak down there. And now we want our eyes to be kind of in the center of the beak. So I'm just going to draw one big eye here. Now, usually when we're scared, the pupils and the irises kind of shrink a little bit in a cartoon. So we're going to have kind of a smaller dot in our eye here. And then to demonstrate that our eye is really stretched back, really open, I'm going to draw this little line kind of towards the bottom and to the right of the blue jay, so towards the back of the head. And I'll draw our little line markings again. And that is one scared blue jay. So at this point, we've drawn some different expressions. So you can actually craft a whole story using just 4 expressions like that. And think about how your face moves as you draw. Try to translate that to your different characters. Maybe you're drawing an elephant for your story, or maybe you're drawing a bear or something. Think about how a bear might look if it were angry, or how an elephant might look. Maybe the trunk is being expressive for the mouth or something. So just keep in mind that this is going to vary across different animals and different characters that you make. But if you've been drawing along with me, if you've drawn this blue jay, I want to ask you, does your blue jay look like mine does? Probably not, right? But that's okay because it's your blue jay. So this is the blue jay you drew. It's highly individualized. It works for you. And honestly, this doesn't look exactly like the blue jay I drew for Scared either. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So you're going to draw differently every single time. And that's kind of what's so fun about doodling. That's kind of what's so fun about art, really, is that it's all so unique to you. Well, thank you again for watching. Thank you for emoting with me, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. We should have a video up soon. So thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.